Hello, I'm attorney Scott Lesowitz, and I have extremely important updates about Brett Favre's defamation lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. So let's get started. So on May 3rd, 2023, Shannon Sharpe filed a motion to dismiss the defamation lawsuit on the grounds that even if Brett Favre's allegations were all accepted as true, that Shannon Sharpe would still win as a matter of law. And very late in the night on May 24th, Brett Favre filed his opposition. So I'm going to give a very quick recap of what got us here. So before getting into any kind of details, I want to say for Brett Favre's attorneys, I hereby add to any statement in this video the words allegedly times 1,000 gazillion. Now also in important news, I went to the zoo, and so for your viewing pleasure, I'm going to put in some footage every now and then of that I took at the zoo. Has absolutely no importance to anything, but hey, I like animals. So the state of Mississippi alleges essentially two things against Brett Favre. One is that he received $1.1 million of funds meant for welfare, but it is undisputed that Brett Favre returned those funds. And second, Mississippi alleges that Brett Favre played a role in an alleged funneling of $5 million to the building of a volleyball statement for the University of Southern Mississippi. And the state is suing for the return of those $5 million. So on September 14, 2022, Shannon Sharpe on the Undisputed program made a set of comments that are the subject of Brett Favre's defamation lawsuit. And there are three in particular that Brett Favre listed in his lawsuit. Those are: one, the problem that I have with this situation, you've got to be a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low. Two, Brett Favre is taking from the underserved. Three, Favre stole money from people that really needed that money. And I think that Brett Favre is also suing because Shannon Sharpe made fun of his attorney for showing off too much of his chest in an interview. Oh wait, never mind. That was me who made fun of him. I'm sorry. Because this is a motion to dismiss brought under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12b-6, even if the motion's denied, even if Shannon Sharpe loses the motion, the case goes on. Shannon Sharpe might even still be able to file a summary judgment motion. Motion to dismiss is a hard motion to win because all of the allegations in the complaint are accepted as true. Okay, so Shannon Sharpe's motion to dismiss was pretty straightforward in my mind. I think they did a good job on it. And their main arguments are that Shannon Sharpe's statements were merely his opinion, and that the average viewer would understand that he was just saying his opinions based off what he's heard, and that part of the reason is because of the hyperbolic nature of the language he used. So now on to Favre's opposition. A big difference between Shannon Sharpe's comments about Favre versus Pat McAfee's comments about Brett Favre was that Shannon Sharpe at one point in the segment seems to say that Brett Favre did not return the funds that went to him personally, which is just factually incorrect. And it was clear from the sources that Shannon Sharpe was relying on that Favre had returned the money. Favre's attorneys did not include that statement in their complaint. And in their opposition to the motion to dismiss, they barely gloss over that Shannon Sharpe said that. So just to cover my ass a little bit more, just like Pat McAfee, I have no personal knowledge about anything involving Brett Favre. I've never met Brett Favre. I've never even met someone who's met Brett Favre. If I were Brett Favre's attorney, and look, I know I've done a lot of negativity here, but man, Brett, call me up. Call me up. I'm not above that. I would have made Shannon Sharpe's statement about the lack of return of the funds the centerpiece of the lawsuit. I would have amended the complaint to specifically reference it, because otherwise the three things that are referenced in the complaint sure sound opinionish to me. Really what they need the argument to be, and I think they probably made it enough that the judge could give them credit for it, but I would have liked to see it more specific. The statement that Favre stole was referencing the lack of return of funds, which is a factually incorrect statement. So a lot of the opposition is spent on saying that things that Shannon Sharpe was relying on had false statements in them. Hey, remember, the actual malice standard applies. And to the degree Shannon Sharpe was relying on what was said in a newspaper article or a lawsuit by the state of Mississippi, he's not reckless. They also basically criticize Shannon Sharpe for not being a walking encyclopedia on possibly favorable things he could have said about Brett Favre. But once again, that's not the actual malice standard. But you know what, hey, just to be clear for our purposes, I want to point out that nobody's alleging that Brett Favre killed anybody on welfare. Nobody's alleging that Brett Favre ate anybody on welfare. Nobody's alleging that Brett Favre was Jack the Ripper. No one is alleging that Brett Favre was the Loch Ness Monster. So Shannon Sharpe's reply to his motion, he gets the last word, is due May 31st.